Well, good morning. I'm out in the nature and I'm out on a little solo hike. When I say little, it's actually going to be a very long one. Very easy one, but a very long one. I'm hiking down the whole Flåm Valley, which is, well, if you start from Myrdal, it's 20 kilometers. I'm starting it from the station before. I think it's going to be like 18 or 17 kilometers. I already have amazing views. It's December. The fact that I can walk here right now, I think that's absolutely shocking, because normally this should already be covered with lots of snow. And this little powder that we can see over here, that came yesterday night, I think, because before that the temperatures were too high. There was no frost, no anything. So yeah, I'm out on this long hike. I'm going to enjoy the fresh air, the breeze. And while I do that, I thought I'm going to start reminiscing about all the amazing adventures that I have managed to do in 2025. So I thought that I'm going to check in with you once in a while. First of all, update you on how I'm doing on the trail, and also to talk about my top 5 favorite adventures of 2025. I'm going to start now hiking down the Myrdal switchbacks, which is, I think, 21 hairpin turns. In a matter of very short time, you actually lose a lot of height, around like 300 to 400 meters of elevation gain. So this is the only part that is covered a little bit with snow, so I have to be careful so I don't slide. But it's so beautiful. This is definitely the most beautiful part of the whole hike. I think this is probably one of the last days I can do this hike up until May or June. But and let's hope for that, because that means that there's enough snow to go skiing in the area. So let's cross our fingers and hope that I am not doing this hike until May. So number 5 of 2025 adventures for me is the wild camping trip to Målådalen, when we wild camp by this beautiful mountain lake. This one has been on my bucket list for a very long time, years, and everyone kept saying to me that I have to do it. But I've never really had a chance before. It was quite far away from where I was living. So I was very happy that when we were living in Ålesund, it was so close by, and we actually managed to do it. And we kind of did it already in off season, so it wasn't too busy, because this hike is actually very, very popular. There were only a few tents around, but it didn't feel like, when you were camping there, you didn't really hear other people around. So that was nice. And we enjoyed amazing dinner, and the views were just outstanding. And yeah, the breakfast, amazing. Like, I don't know. I don't really know what to say about it, except for the fact that it was absolutely beautiful. You could see the Sunnmøre Alps and the sharp peaks, and when we just arrived there, it was kind of like the water was super still, so the reflection was absolutely amazing. So definitely I'll put it in my number 5 spot, because it has been on my bucket list for a long time, and I finally did it, and it was amazing. I will link down all of these adventures below, so if you want to watch them and see what I mean by everything I'm saying, do that. There's so much water still in the waterfalls. This winter has started so mildly. I hope that's going to change, and then the cold creeps in again and brings a lot of snow and ice, because I don't think we should be able to see waterfalls right now. At least not so high up in the mountains, because right now I'm around 800 meters above sea level, and well, everything should be frozen by middle of December at that time, I think. But it's not. What's happening to winters in Norway? I don't know, but I hope, well, I know what, it's climate change, but yeah, I hope that we get more snowy white winters further on. So I'm 3.5 kilometers in my hike, and I think I want to have a little break with a cup of tea and a little pastry. And I am now by my favorite bench in the valley, in this little forest. So I think I'm gonna do it just here. Luis yesterday baked some muffins, and I have squished them now in my backpack, so they don't look much, but they were so tasty. They're like double chocolate. They have dark chocolate inside and also cacao powder. And I think that is perfect for a cold day, for a long hike. I think I'm going to really enjoy this. It's so rich. It's so good. Luis, he put like these big chunks of chocolate in it, so you get some bites with like this chewy dark chocolate. It's so good. So while I'm sitting here enjoying the cup of tea and the muffin, I think it's time to mention the number 4 of my top 5 adventures of 2025. And that one has to be the sunset hike in July in Ålesund, overlooking the city. It was so nice. We got a heat wave in July for most of it, I think like 3 weeks or so. It was super hot every single day, perfect skies, and like dream summer basically. And we tried to use the days to best of our abilities. And this one day we hiked up in 30 degrees Celsius to a mountain top nearby to the city and enjoyed some awesome dinner. We made some tacos and we watched the sunset over the city, and we hiked back, I think, at midnight almost. No, it wasn't midnight, I think it was like 11, but still it was very late. We were home after midnight. Probably one of my favorite days in 2025. And that's something I'm going to miss a lot from Ålesund, because now we've moved away from Ålesund. I'm going to miss it so much, the sunlight that you get in the evenings in the summer, because here the sun disappears behind the mountains, so you don't really feel it. You see that it's still light, but you don't see direct sunlight. But there you could stay up until 11 in the evening and just watch the sunset going down in the ocean, and that was so beautiful. That day probably was my favorite day in living in Ålesund. So that's number 4. We are in a very narrow tunnel, a little bit spooky, but it's actually not so spooky because some years ago there was no light here. Now with the light it's not so spooky. But I have run and cycled through this tunnel loads of times in complete darkness, and that is a little bit spooky. But now it's kind of, I don't know, it's cute. Little walking tunnel in the nature. So I've been now walking for a while, for around 7.5 kilometers in total, and I can now see the halfway point of the Flåm Railway and the Flåm Valley called Berekvam. And I think I'm starting to get a little bit hungry again. I think it's time for my lunch sandwich. So I'm going to start looking for a nice spot to sit down and enjoy the sandwich. And a cup of tea, of course. You can never say no to tea. All right, I have found a lovely bench and I'm going to dig into my sandwich and my cup of tea. And before I do that, I think it's time to talk about the number 3 of my top 5 adventures of 2025. And I think this one is going to be the Runde Island. Exploring Runde Island and watching puffins. This is an annual trip that me and Luis have been doing for I would like to say like 7 or 8 years, something like that. And I never get tired of it. I'm not so much into like wildlife photography, mostly because it requires kind of like completely different mindset, patience and flexibility, and also equipment, with the thinking about like camera equipment and so on, which I don't have and I kind of don't want to invest in it. But I really, really love photographing puffins and just watching puffins. They're so cute, they're so small and like adorable. I could be there for hours watching them. Also, the Runde island is so beautiful. It reminds me of northern Norway or Iceland, or I don't know, I think that's how Faroe Islands could look like. Also Scotland. Like there's no trees on it because it's located just by the water. The cliffs and everything, it just looks so beautiful. So you can basically spend a nice time exploring the island, and then by the evening you can go watch puffins. And that's the perfect summer trip. And I think we're gonna keep doing that like further on as well. Like I'm already looking forward to next year's puffin adventure. So that's definitely number 3 for me. But now it's time to eat my sandwich. It would have been better warm, but we take it as it is. As I said, we have reached the halfway point. I have walked around 8 kilometers, so I assume it's like around 8 left until my home. So I think it's going to be around 18 kilometers. Yeah, I'm enjoying myself quite a lot. Haven't seen a single person whilst I've been hiking. And that's, yeah, if you ever have hiked this valley, that is not so usual. But you know, in off-season, you can get all this nature for yourself. Isn't that a funny little picnic spot? It's like made of stone, and then it's like basically inside a cliff. A little bit hidden. Very cute. I've been now walking on an asphalt road for a while. A bit boring, but it is what it is. I have done so far, let's see how much, 11.5 kilometers. Yeah, we keep hiking. Over there, there's even a little bit of sun. The mountaintops are getting a bit of sun. Unfortunately, not me. I'm too low. But yeah, at least somewhere it's sunny. Look at this beautiful waterfall. So stunning. We have now reached Runde. That's the waterfall over there. It has a lot of water for this time of the year, and I'm quite surprised. And yeah, whenever I see this waterfall, whenever I'm hiking or walking or cycling the valley, I understand that I'm getting close to the end of the hike. I have around like 3.5 kilometers left, and it's always such a beauty. I always love to stop here. Whilst we're here, I think this is a great moment to mention the number 3 of my top 5 adventures of 2025. And for me, that has to be the summer road trip. The summer road trip that we took in July, and we went to this white sand beach by the coast. And as I said before, in July we had a big heat wave for like basically the whole July, I think, maybe 3 weeks of it. Temperatures were very, very high for most of it. It's very unusual to Norway. So obviously one of the things that we had to do is go visit the beach, hopefully swim and refresh ourselves. Normally you wouldn't think that Norway is a beach destination. Actually, it kind of is. There's so many beautiful beaches along the coast in southern Norway and also even in northern Norway. The water is not warm for the most time of the year, but you know, at least it looks beautiful. So this time when we went to visit this beach, it's actually a very popular surfers beach. The water was very, very warm and it was just amazing. The color of it was just like turquoise. It's so beautiful. It almost felt like we suddenly were in a different part of the world, like we have gone to some tropical destination, but no, that was still Norway. You wouldn't even think that. So yeah, that was very exciting. I just love this waterfall. This waterfall is so beautiful. One of the prettiest in Norway, I think. Anyway, let's continue with the hike. Not much left. I'm really eager to be done with it. Starting to feel like I need proper food. One sandwich and a muffin was not enough. So I think we're just going to push a little bit more and get home. And yeah, I've really been enjoying myself. I'm taking a little detour because I want to come close to the river again. I know I said in the previous clip that I want to get home as quickly as possible, but I don't know, I just wanted to have a different perspective of the river before we head into the residential area. Let's see, hopefully I don't slide anywhere. All right. Yeah, I expected a little bit more water actually, but nevertheless, I'm gonna go back through my little forest. Well, there it is. That's Flåm, at least like the end of it, or the old village center. Where the church is. We're about to head into the residential area, so we're definitely getting closer and closer to the end of this hike. And whilst we're at it, I think I'm going to mention the number 5 of my top 5 adventures of 2025, and that for me has to be the entire trip to Austria in June. I had just the time of my life on this trip. The Alps are just so amazing, so beautiful. So many beautiful trails and relatively easy accessible. And living in Innsbruck during that week was amazing. Every time I stepped out from the hotel, I was just mesmerized by this wall of mountain towering down the city. It was like one of the prettiest cities I've probably ever been in my life. And nature was so easy accessible from there. Either by train or just there taking the gondola up to the mountaintops. Definitely my favorite experience of 2025, and I would love to return to Alps next year as well. We'll see if we manage to do anything like that, but it's definitely on my bucket list, especially going there in winter. I would love to do that. I think I'm gonna stop filming for now, because from now on it's just going to be mostly houses and I don't really want to film those. Thank you so much for watching. One more video left this year. I hope it's going to be in winter, in snow, because it's right before Christmas, so I'm hoping for, some good views. All right, see you later. Bye. Just me and the waterfall. Bye.